accidentally, when she sent me an email about, we're trying to coordinate this, at the end it had her little signature and it had her website. Clicked on the website and it said RaelynNelsonBand.com. I clicked on it and it took me to RaelynNelson.com. If you go to RaelynNelson.com, it's basically an escort service. It's basically a lady trying to get some action. Yeah. So do that at your own risk.
Live from the Willie Nelson and Friends Museum Showcase in Nashville, Tennessee. It's Music is Funny. Musicians talking to comedians about music and comedy. With your hosts, Raelyn Nelson and Jonathan Bright.
I'm still smoking, I'm so high, I keep toking, I'm drunk, but I'm still drinking too.
Welcome back to Music is Funny. I'm Raelyn Nelson.
And I'm Jonathan Bright from the Raelyn Nelson Band, back with another ridiculous and unnecessary intro.
Hey, today we have a really fun comedian. I had a great time with him. I was on his podcast, Country-ish. So check this one out. And his Jon Reep. So I'm so confused because I was just looking at the signature of Raelyn Nelson Band, and it says RaelynNelsonBand.com.
It does. That's the weird part. It's typed out correctly, but then when it's linked to the other one somehow.
So stupid. But also really funny.
It's hilarious. I mean, I kind of want to steal that idea from you. If I could buy JOHN Reap.com and send it to some just big old ginger dick.
Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, this is JB, my co-host.
Hello, John. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Y'all are both JONs, by the way. Jonathan Bright, JON.
Exactly right.
Correct. Many great things about the name Jonathan. If you're a JOHN, that's all you are, is John. But if you're Jonathan, we could be Joe. We could be Nathan, the back part of that name. We could be Han, like Han Solo.
Interesting fun fact. At one point, I was living in Montgomery, Alabama in the second grade, I think, and my teacher called me Joe Nathan.
Right.
I got both of them, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Nathan.
I remember my mom going in for a PTA thing, and she was like, well, Joe Nathan. And my mom's like, why did you correct her? I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah.
Where was this? What part of the country?
In Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah. She took a regular name, good Christian Bible name, Jonathan, and had to redneck it up with a Joe Nathan.
Yeah, it was phonics, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it was a trip.
Does anybody call you Johnny?
Sometimes, only 2 or 3 people call me Johnny. I don't mind it, but it's not, no one else does. It's people who think that they know me will call me Johnny. Like, oh, Johnny, I'll tell you. And I'm like, no one calls me Johnny, dude. But go ahead.
Like your family calls you Johnny, right?
Some of my cousins when I was a kid, but yeah, mostly.
They don't know?
Yeah, some.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The way we start this podcast off is by asking you, what's the first music you remember loving as a kid?
You got it. Are we going now?
Yeah,
we're in.
First music I remember loving as a kid. I remember one Christmas specifically, on my mom's side of the family, we play this game, like a Dirty Santa or something. And, it was one of my uncles had to get me a gift, like they drew my name or whatever. And my mom was like, what do you want? What do you want? I was like, all I wanted was a Run DMC cassette. So when I was younger, I was all about R&B and hip hop and rap. I love Run DMC. I love UTFO. I love all this old school 80s, 90s rap. And I was a break dancer. I got cardboard. I would go out in the neighborhood and break dance. I got the all Adidas tracksuit and Adidas shoes. I was never going to be a country guy. I was supposed to be a R&B hip hop breakdancing rap guy.
What was the first rap you heard?
First rap I heard was, let's see here. I really want to rack my brain and think of the first one. It was probably a Run DMC thing, but it could have been like Roxanne, I Want to Hold Your Hand by UTFO.
I remember UTFO. I think the show was Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew was the first one. The flip side had Lottie Dottie on it.
Yes. Yes,
And the
yes.
Fat Boys were another favorite. I love the
Fat boys are back. Yep, I remember them. Yeah, I used to beatbox like those guys. I was amazed by all that stuff. So, but even before that, if I'm really trying to, I think Olivia Newton-John.
There you go.
Before that, it was Olivia Newton-John. I was in love with her. I joined her fan club, like
cute.
through the mail, and we get stuff from the fan club. I was
She's
a big
hot.
fan of hers. Yeah, she's freaking hot.
Yeah, definitely super hot. She's still hot too. Well, I
Yeah.
picture her still hot. I don't really know if that's true. But
Yeah, I mean, she's just gorgeous. Had these big, beautiful eyes, this crazy accent, and could sing like an angel.
Bo Derek's still pretty hot for her age too. We saw
Yeah,
her.
for
not
sure.
she's yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even
Where
just
did you
for
see
age.
her?
She's pretty hot.
Yeah, she's been hot for a long time.
A long time.
The movie 10 with Dudley Moore. Did you ever
Yep.
see that?
Oh yeah, with
Oh,
the
yeah.
the braids.
You saw her boobies in that one.
Yes, you did. You even saw the nipples in the promos.
Woohoo.
And she got John Corbett, Aiden from Sex and the City. They're together.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she got her a younger man.
There you go.
Good for her.
Yeah, and they're both really cool. They actually do work with my Aunt Amy and I for Willie's Kids, where we've been well, this is before the pandemic, but we used to go to DC and lobby for the anti-horse slaughter bill. And
Wow.
yeah, so we hung out with them, and they're actually really cool.
Okay.
But that's so
Good.
interesting. What kind of music did your mom and dad listening to when you were little?
My mom would listen to Dolly Parton, Barbara Mandrell, Elvis. That's what I remember as a kid, like on Sunday mornings, helping her clean the house. That was one of my chores. On the weekends was vacuuming, dusting, and we would just blast Barbara Mandrell, the Mandrell sisters,
Yeah.
and or Dolly Parton. And every now and then, like, because I love comedy, I love funny songs. You know, there was it was an 8-track tape called Funny Bones, and it was just all the random funny songs that people had made over the years. And one of them was by Chuck Berry, My Ding-a-Ling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that stuff, random. But my dad, I never heard him like enjoying music or any. It's really weird. Like, I never heard him really getting into anything. I think he liked 50s music, you know, early rock, like Jerry Lee Lewis, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But mostly, I remember Mom liking Dolly Parton and Elvis Presley.
Yeah, Dolly's
Yeah.
the best. She's the queen.
That's a pretty good combo.
Hmm.
Have you met Dolly? I'm sure you guys have.
If I did, I was a little kid and it wasn't special at all. So I haven't as an adult.
You're saying
no.
Dolly Parton wasn't special when you met her?
No, I don't remember
Wow.
it or anything.
What a-
So if she was, but
Easy.
there was a lot of times when a lot of famous people were around for awards or they were doing a tribute or something, and I did, and like I didn't understand how cool it was then. I just didn't. It's a shame. I didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Like when you're a kid, you just don't understand like how awesome this moment might be. But my mom would always tell a story that a lady that she went to church with, Virginia Whaley, played basketball as a kid with Dolly Parton.
Wow.
And I remember hearing that story thinking like, that would be interesting to see. I would
Yeah.
love to see Dolly Parton playing basketball. But this was before
With
the
her
boob
tits.
job.
No.
Yeah, before the boob job. She was
Yeah.
like in high school or something. So, but yeah. And I love Elvis too. I love Dolly Parton too. Like, you know, I've been to Graceland twice.
I had this thought last week, actually. Maybe I'll just tell you. I think I want to die the way Elvis did on the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know,
Sure.
when you die, you shit and piss everything out anyway.
Right,
So
right.
if you're already on the toilet, it's already cleaned up and you don't have to worry about anybody doing that for you. I think it's like the best way to go.
It's a very considerate way to die.
Yes.
Definitely.
And with like your last dying breath, you reach back and flush on the way out. You're like,
Yeah.
wow. You did
Yeah.
it. She really did it.
Yeah, I mean that or the shower, maybe. No, you're right. The toilet's the best way.
Toilet's the best way.
If
And
you
you
had
feel
a
comfortable there, when you're shitting,
Yeah.
If it's your toilet.
What about this? And what if it's a hotel toilet? Not really that comfortable. Maybe
Yeah.
cold tiles on the ground.
Still better than not a toilet, though.
Yeah, well, at that point, you're dead, so who cares? But yeah, for other people finding you, now it might be embarrassing that, you know, you got your pants down. You didn't have time to wipe, probably. So it's going to be nasty. So there'll be some people who have that memory, but at least most of it will be in the toilet, right?
Yeah, the most of it's going to be in the toilet.
Your sweet daughter will like take your corpse and wipe your ass just to make sure. I'm going to bury her with a clean ass.
Or, you know, if you have a bidet, just a little squirt.
That's it.
Shoot
That's
you
where
right
it's
off the
at.
top.
Now, listen, you and I argued about this when I brought this up to you. Is the throne, the toilet, called a throne because Elvis the King died on it? Or is it called the throne?
What
For
was
another
it called?
reason.
The throne before Elvis died is the
Thank you.
question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. That is a good question.
I do know the answer. I
Yeah, because
Googled
he
it.
Googled it.
Oh, you already Googled it. I'm going to say it was called the throne before Elvis died. It's been called many things, but the throne probably been around a long time. Probably has something to do with some stupid, weird king who also shit and died at the same time.
Bingo. Well, he actually didn't die, but I forget which king, way back, but he conducted so much business while he was shitting that they started jokingly referring to it as his throne, and that it just came from like the 17th century or something, way back.
That's awesome. I conduct a lot of business as well on the
yeah?
toilet. You know, we all have our phones. Like, have you done this where you went to the bathroom and you're sitting there and you forgot your phone and now you're just miserable? You're like, I got to get this over with. But I feel like we get a lot done on the throne now because of our phone. Have you done it to where you've been on the phone, you got a phone call and you're going, and then you're like, you're finished, but the phone call's still going, and you're like, I don't want to flush because I don't want them to hear this.
Your legs are going to sleep.
Yeah, I've done it to where like I didn't flush because I didn't want them to hear it, and I didn't wash my hands either. I just sort of wiped and got out of there, and then forgot about it, and then went back in there. It's like, oh God. Yeah.
I like to. I don't know why this is. We were continuing
We're
to talk
talking
about that.
scat humor.
But when I'm on the phone with someone and I really have to pee, I'll just get them to start talking. I'll mute it. I'll pee,
Yes.
get it all done, you know. And even if you have to like stop peeing for a second and then be like, and then no.
You're sneaky. I love it.
I think my favorite thing about them calling it the throne for so long ago, just to know that there were smartasses, even way back. There's been smartasses since the dawn of time, you know.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Oh
But
yeah,
they
sure.
called it a throne.
Yeah.
Throne.
So let's get into comedy.
Oh,
Like, how do you? What got you first? Like, who were your favorite as a kid, and what made you think, maybe that's something I'll try?
My dad was hilarious growing up. He was the funny one. And as a kid, I was impressed and in awe of just because my dad was funny to his friends. So sitting back and just watching how his friends treated him, like something would happen, and then everyone look at my dad to see what he's going to say because they know it's going to be funny. Like I remember seeing that happen and thinking like, oh, I want to be able to do that because there's power in that, and it's cool, and I wanted that. And so I remember as a kid watching. It's going to sound crazy now, but we all watched Bill Cosby himself. Bill Cosby was one of the best. Really
that
was.
special was amazing.
Bill Cosby himself to this day is one of the best comedy specials. Some people say the best ever.
He's a good
So
guy.
I grew up with that, and Steve Martin I loved. I loved sophisticated dumb people. I mean, people that were you know in the back of your head they're really smart, but they're pretending to be dumb sometimes, or they're actually there's levels in it, which means people could laugh at it for many different reasons. I kind of like that. And I loved SNL as a kid. When I was a kid though, you know, a lot of kids my age would watch Saturday or Sunday morning cartoons, where I was like infatuated with Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movies. So I'd watch Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movies when my brother's trying to get me to change the channel to Tom and Jerry. I love that stuff because Jerry Lewis to me was a walking cartoon. I mean, he was a cartoon. So it's basically the same. And then as I got older, my taste changed and everything, you know, but I always liked comedy. I liked, Eddie Murphy, you know, Richard Pryor. The first comedian I saw live that made me laugh the entire hour was a guy named Brian Regan.
Oh yeah.
There's a difference between watching comedy on TV and then being in the audience and watching it.
100%.
So that sort of changed my perspective as well. But it started with Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin movies, Bill Cosby, Steve Martin.
You know what else has changed that is podcasting, because when I watch your podcast or other comedians and I feel like I know you guys, and I know I don't really, but you know how you as an audience member feel like you know them on their podcast, because every week they're telling you what they think about everything that's gone on. You feel like it, right? So then I can watch your special on Netflix and it's just as good as me being there. But I think that's only changed just in the last few years, and only for people who love podcasts.
Yeah, I still don't know if it's as good as actually being there in front of it, because there's something about, I mean, it can be
no,
just,
of course not. Nothing ever is.
it's much better than it was because you know the people, but you know,
But I
Right.
get
There's
just
something to be
excited about it.
said. Yeah, I agree with you. There's something to be said about, like, I feel like I know this person because I hear them every week, talking about, like what you said, whatever's going on. And then now you see them as a polished thing doing their thing. And you feel like, oh, I remember him talking about this subject 6 months ago, and now he's made it into a bit. And it's awesome, and I'm rooting for him, and I love him as my friend now. So I get that. You're right. Podcasting is definitely, that's a whole new thing. You know, when I started out, there was no podcasting. There was no internet.
yeah, but what's weird is the kind of, and we can get into it some, but the Last Comic Standing was almost like a prehistoric version of podcasting, because it wasn't really the truth, but weekly you got to see, quote unquote,
Right.
behind the scenes. And they made an effort, whether or not it was true of your character or not, they tried to make a character out of you that you would engage with week after week. So I'm sure that was, had to be a whole new kind of thing. Like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah. I mean, I got on Last Comic Standing season 5, 2007. And I had an agent who would call me every year and be like, hey, do you want to go down there and audition for Last Comic Standing? And I said no a bunch of times for different reasons. I mean, mostly it was, I didn't feel like I needed it. I was doing well. I had already done a bunch of these Dodge truck commercials. Like I did like 8 of these, I did 6 of them over the course of 3 years. I was just on a sitcom, and I just done like a Comedy Central presents. I didn't feel like I was a new guy that needed to be discovered on Last Comic Standing.
Right.
Plus, I didn't like the way it looked on TV when I was watching it. I didn't like the fact that, here's a comedian on stage being cocky and confident and not having a care in the world, and he has a great set. And then when he's done, he looks right at the camera and says, "Please vote for me."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like the way it looked. It looked like you're confident one minute, now you're begging for the other. I didn't like it. So I said no a bunch of times. And then season 5, he said, well, this season, you don't have to live in a house together. Everyone's going to get their own room. So it doesn't have that, real world vibe to it. We're going to get like comedians that have somewhat of a reputation, some sort of credibility, some road established guys who, if they do win, can actually perform for an hour on stage somewhere, not just 10 minutes. And also, the money is going to go up from $50,000 to $250,000. And I said, okay, I'll go down there.
Yeah.
But I knew when I went down there, that when I say down there, it was at the Melrose Improv in Los Angeles, the audition. I knew that they were going to paint me as the redneck guy who fell off the chuck wagon. And I went with it, I didn't shy away from it. I kind of played into it a little bit. I think it helped, but yeah, I mean, that was a definitely weird, different experience. And it changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I ended up winning the thing. And then ever since then, people, before Last Comic Standing, if you knew me, you knew my face, but you didn't know my name. After Last Comic Standing, that's when people started knowing the name.
Right.
So that definitely helped. Yeah. But it did kind of, I still didn't like the reality side of it. And you're right. There were some, they forced things like one of the challenges we had to do was go to medieval times and dress up like court gestures and try to make people laugh, in the middle of this arena. It's really, really dumb, but it was fun,
We back up way back before that, because like you said, you'd been doing a lot of stuff up to that point. What got you in? Like, what was your first gig like? And how was it in Hickory, or were you out somewhere? Did they have comedy clubs around? Like,
No, I had to get out of Hickory to start. I went to Raleigh, North Carolina. There's a comedy club. I went to school at NC State, North Carolina State University, and while I was there, I grew up as a class clown in high school. I was like the funny guy in high school. Got that little senior superlative class clown, and then everyone said you should be a comedian. You should be a comedian, and I always had the fantasy in my head, like, yeah, one of these days I will be. I didn't think it was a real thing. I didn't know there were comedy clubs all over the country. I just thought it was something that existed in New York or LA or on television. I didn't know it was a real thing that you could do. So I always had the fantasy
some people
of it.
still believe that it only exists in New York and LA and on television.
Yeah. No, it's that's one of the good things about Last Comic Standing was it made people realize, holy shit, we got a club here. I didn't know, because they would go on the road and do stuff and be like, we got one of those? So it kind of opened people's eyes to the fact that, you might have a great comedian in your town right now, and you had no idea. So that was a good thing. But I just didn't know it was a real job or a real possibility for me growing up in Hickory. So I moved to Raleigh, was a theater major. I backed into that, didn't want to be a theater major, just thought it would be easy thing to do. I thought it would be an easy A, and I got in there to the class, and I realized, like, wow, people think I'm good, and they want to work with me. I had people coming up to me going, I want to do a scene with you next week. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I fell in love with it accidentally, and then stand-up came after that. There happened to be a good comedy club in that town in Raleigh called Good Nights. And so I would go there on open mic nights, and I just fell in love with it. Yeah. But I will tell you, that was one of the scariest moments ever, because now I am faced with the possibility of fucking up my dream. Because previously, my dream was a dream, and I always did well. I would go to sleep thinking, oh, yeah, I'm the best comedian ever. And now I'm faced with the reality of me doing it and not being good at it.
Yeah.
So what if that happened? And so that scared the shit out of me for a while. And then finally I just suck it up and went with it. But yeah, it started in Raleigh.
Well, the first gig must have gone decently. If you were that freaked out about it, you must have gotten a few laughs at the first gig to make you want to go and not just bomb horrendously.
Yeah, the first gig, I did like 7 minutes, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't take a class. It was just they let you up there, and I didn't know how to hold the mic. I didn't know you're supposed to put it right here. So I'd be talking, and the microphone would be over here. No one could hear me. But my friend was recording me in the back of the room. I had one buddy named Marty who laughed at anything I ever did. Like, even if it wasn't funny, Marty was laughing. He just thought I was the funniest thing ever. So when I told him I was doing comedy, he goes, I'm going to come film it. And so he came, and it was a Tuesday night, and it was an open mic night. There were maybe 30 people in the crowd. Marty's in the back with the camera. And I would go on stage, and I thought it'd be funny to fall down because I love Chris Farley and all that stuff. And so I told Marty I was going to fall down on purpose. And I ran on stage. To my credit, it looks like a real fall. It looks like I actually busted my ass, which I think was not good because on an open mic night, the guy who introduced me, he said, it's his first time. Everybody be nice. And so I fell down. And instead of getting a laugh, people immediately felt sorry for me because they thought it was real. And they went, oh. And I got up and I was like, no, I didn't. Oh, shit. And then I'm trying to blank. I'm blanking. I'm trying to think of my jokes. And the microphone's over here. No one could even hear me. But I was able to get probably 30 seconds of the things that they could hear that worked. And when I went back and watched the tape, I was like, oh, I could fix this. oh, this is easy. All I got to do is put the mic here and then make sure I don't fall down. So I fixed it, and I was hooked. One laugh is all it took to get me to go back and make it better. But yeah, it's funny too. We watched the tape later, and Marty was in the back of the room with the camera on his shoulder. Like, I would do a joke, and no one would laugh because they couldn't hear me. But Marty, the camera would go. I was like, thanks, Marty.
That's good.
So how did where do you go from Raleigh? How long do you stay there doing comedy? And you probably didn't make it out of Raleigh.
Right. No, I started getting better and better. Went from being like a house MC to being like a feature act. And so people would be like, okay, there's other clubs you can go and do like a one-nighter over here. You can do a one-nighter over here as a feature act. That's just where you do like 20 to 30 minutes.
Right.
And I was high energy at the time. I was a young dude, and I was just Jim Carrey was also a big influence. I just love going. I like to get 100%. So I would go on stage and it'd be over the top. And at the time, it was awesome. People loved it, and it just grew to where someone would say, oh, by the way, there's a contest this weekend over here at this club. Oh, by the way, there's a festival. Yeah. Oh, did we lose camera again, the Yellow Jackson? Yeah, so I don't know where where you lost me. But
We could hear the whole time.
oh, good. Yeah, so I started doing festivals.
There it is.
Little small things here and there. I would win a contest over here, and I'd get invited for this thing over here. And then before I know it, a guy by the name of Freddie DeMarco in Columbia, Missouri, I was invited to the HBO's Aspen Comedy Festival. Mm-hmm. And but bigger than that was the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival, which is like the Super Bowl of festivals. So I was invited to both, and I ended up going to Montreal, and Freddie DeMarco acted as my agent. He was just a club owner in Missouri, but he believed in me and was like, I'm going to pretend to be your agent so that, I can tell you who's full of shit and who's not, when you take these meetings, when you go up there. And I went up there and I did well. I did good. I wasn't like, I didn't get $1 million development deal or anything, but I had people go like, oh yeah, you should come to LA and audition for stuff, cause you're kind of an actor anyway. You're not just a comedian up there telling jokes. You're getting into it. You're an actor. I go, yeah. Okay. So I moved to LA, in 2000. So I started comedy, like first time on stage was probably 95, 96. 1998, I quit my job to do comedy full time as a feature act on the road, making no money, living off a credit card. And then by the year 2000, I moved to Los Angeles and just couch surfed for a while with some friends until, and then one thing just led to another.
Sounds like building a band.
Yeah.
A slow burner. It does.
Yeah, slow burn, and then
Get your local fans, and then you just start branching out and meeting people. And it's so cliche, but it isn't people and who you know. You bump into the right person, it can change your fate overnight.
Yeah. Looking back, I wish I would have had a little bit more of business smarts in the beginning of it, because I feel like I could have gotten to where a goal faster, because I was young and just having a good time. Like, I just figured it's going to go somewhere. All I got to do is be funny up there for 1 hour. Everything else will work itself out. And so I probably lost a lot of opportunities because I was drunk and didn't return a phone call.
Yeah, but think of all of the great times you would have lost if you'd have taken that phone call. I mean, you're in your 20s, you're supposed to be fucking up a little bit.
It worked out, but yeah, totally.
So when you're acting, like you got into a bit of acting, you mentioned you went to school for it. Did you do it a lot? And when you were doing it, did you get away from stand-up while you were doing it, and you kind of doing acting and missing stand-up, and then maybe you start doing more stand-up and you're kind of missing acting, or were you just kind of split between the two? Yeah,
so it started with stand-up. The theater major was that was a couple of classes, one play. I didn't even think I was good at it. Other people thought I was good at it. Stand up, I knew I was good at because I could see it happening. People are laughing right now at me, and this is going great. So I went stand up mostly. And then when I got to LA, I got a theatrical agent or a commercial agent and started auditioning for commercials. I took like one acting class out there. I took like a commercial training intensive course, like a whole day thing. And then I got on a sitcom with Rodney Carrington, and he had his sitcom for 2 years, and I was on this sitcom, and I quit. I just sort of stopped doing comedy as much. I would do it here and there at the Comedy Store. So when I went to LA, I went to the Comedy Store. Within a year or two, I was made a paid regular there. But I stopped doing it as much on the road. I would just pop in at the Comedy Store here and there because the main thing was the sitcom.
Right.
And then that ended, and I was like, fuck, I got to do stand-up again.
Right.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I'd rather someone else write my jokes and pay me more money than me have to do it and to get paid less money.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's kind of like if you're, I don't know, say a guitar player and you're, Eric Church's guitar player. But if you also write songs and everything, like playing with Eric Church, it's a nice paycheck and it's a little bit easier. But you also love doing this. But to your point, like, fuck, now I got to write all the songs.
Yeah, it's like you had to kind of start over a little bit and rework it's like going back to the gym if you hadn't been in a long time.
Right.
It's like I got to build all these muscles back up. And I know how hard it is and how long it takes.
And I would think a decent acting gig is going to pay more consistently and better than slogging it away at stand-up until you get to a certain point.
Exactly. And I hadn't done that yet. And then Last Comic Standing came after that. So I got back into stand-up more after the sitcom. And Last Comic Standing came after that. And then but I don't know if it was because of that. Maybe I got a better agent or something. Started going out on auditions. I got Harold and Kumar, Escape from Guantanamo Bay. I was the redneck that was married to his sister in that movie. So, yeah, any kind of redneck part, they would send me out for. Yeah. And I did pretty decent on that. I did Eastbound and Down on HBO, the last season of that, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, I can imagine.
That was great because that was sort of like a dream come true. I was a fan of that show. I watched it. And then I was him for Halloween one year. And then fast forward, I'm sitting there I'm on the show. It was really crazy. Aww. Yeah. But yeah, I remember that audition. I happened to be visiting my parents in Hickory that weekend when I got the audition. And I'm like, fuck, I can't make it. I'm home and I'm going to be here for like another 3 days. And they said, well, just record it on your laptop and send it in. They happened to like me in Harold and Kumar, Escape Guantanamo Bay. So they said, well, because we kind of already like you, just record it. We'll let you do that. Send it in to us. We'll go from there. Which means my mom had to read the lines of the other character that I'm doing the scene with. So you see me and you hear my mom, sweet Southern Baptist mom who I've never heard her cuss a day in my life. And she's like, goes to church twice on Sundays and on Wednesdays. She's all about it. And then I said, Mom, I need you to read this other part. And the camera's going to be on me, so they won't see you, but they'll hear you. I just need you to read these lines. Of course, Danny McBride's lines are like, hey, motherfucker, what the goddamn shit's wrong with you? And my mom, she didn't bat an eye. Like, she's like, I'm going to help my baby. And then she read it. And I think they liked it. I think that they thought that was funny. So I don't know if that helped, but yeah.
Wouldn't you love to have that video?
I know. I wish I still had that. I have no idea where it is. I think it was a different laptop.
So good.
So have you ever done any kind of singing? I know from doing your podcast Country-ish that everyone can check out, that you are a big karaoke fan.
Yes.
Right? But other than karaoke, did you ever do any kind of, you did theater major, so maybe a little music there?
You would think, but not really. I say theater major, and it's what it was technically, but I wasn't like that guy, Like in high school, I played football. I was more of a jock and a class clown. We had theater, but I was like, that's not for me. But the singing really, it was never a thing until I went to LA. Karaoke is what? Like, there was a place, I think it's called the Brass Monkey in LA.
Okay.
There was another one called Dimples. And there was, I forgot the name of this other place, these hole in the walls. And so, you know, all your friends at the Comedy Store, we would hang out, we'd go out to eat, and then, like, what else? We would just go to a karaoke spot and make each other laugh by sort of taking over this place that did karaoke. So we would go in and just, and everyone would fill out, like, as much as they could until, you know, kind of like Santa's Pub when you walk in there with the staff of Zanies in Nashville. Mm-hmm. We just take over. I'm sure we're annoying, but it's fun. And I don't think I'm good at it. I just like doing it. I can hit certain notes here and there. I know what songs I shouldn't sing, songs I can sort of get away with, and ones I have no business attempting. You know what I mean?
And what are your top 3? You can tell JB because
top 3, right out the gate. I'm gonna go with Eddie Grant, "Electric Avenue." That's the first song. It's fun. It's easy. I like making that motorcycle noise because I like that part. And it doesn't look like, why is he singing this song? No, so I like that. And then I like doing "Father Figure" by George Michael, just because of when he says, "I'll be your daddy" at the end of it. You know, he says, "I'll be your daddy." And then, like, I stare at one table and I go, "Till the end of time." You know, it's kind of creepy.
yeah.
So I like to do that. But my favorite song is Georgia Satellite's "Keep Your Hands to Yourself," because, you know, he does that little "no huggy, no kissy until I get a wedding ring." I like that "no huggy, no kissy," I like that part.
That's really good.
Ironically, Dan Baird's a friend of mine, and there for many years, if anybody was in karaoke and saw somebody doing it, they'd just make a quick phone recording and send it to him just to drive him crazy. He's like, "God damn it, send me these goddamn karaoke videos."
I have done that song so many times. I've performed it. God, where was this? Was a NASCAR guy named Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Was having a birthday party, and the guitarist from Hootie and the Blowfish was there. And dude, what's this guy's name? It's killing me. He's a country singer. He's like a good looking dude. I forgot his damn name, but he was up there and started singing that song. And I could tell he was forgetting the words, and it pissed me off.
How dare you?
And I ran up there. I took the mic from him, and I was singing better than the actual professional country music singer who was trying to sing "Keep Your Hands to Yourself" and offending everybody, especially me.
Probably a good thing you forgot his name.
Yeah.
You took the microphone away and sang it?
Yes, I did.
That's
Well, he
balls.
gave it to me. He was like, because he knew I liked the song.
Okay.
I know him, but now I'm drawing a blank on his fucking name. I'll look it up here in a minute. I'll send it to you.
But so you got to
it's-
perform the song then at some point, or was it a karaoke event?
It was, no, so he was so at this birthday party, Denny Hamlin had hired different people to perform at his event.
Okay.
And so I was one of the comedians. Michael Waltrip, who's a funny just personality, me and him did like a roast of each other. And then you had like music. There was another guy who was doing magic. It was a hodgepodge of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when it was the music part, this guy got up and that's one of the songs he sang. And I was like, he was fucking it up. And so I had to go up there to help him.
Right.
It's still pretty ballsy just snatching the microphone out of the air.
Yeah.
Well, he knew he didn't snatch it. He just was like, "Here," you know. I just said, "Give it to me, give it to me." But it wasn't like a real gig. It was like a private party thing. Yeah, I would never do that at someone's real gig because I would never let someone take the mic out of my hands if I'm doing stand up. So I would.
Would
never
you let them
cross the
slap
line.
you in the face?
Let them know. If I didn't see it coming, maybe I couldn't prevent it. But we have many different ways of. I've never been attacked on stage. I've only been yelled at once or twice. I'm not that kind of comic. Like I'm not. a confrontational type of comedian. I make fun of myself and my family and my situation. I don't go after people. So I don't have to worry about that as much as other comedians do that might be their thing, which is fine. But inevitably it will happen. I think one of the first gigs I did outside of Charlie Goodnight's in Raleigh, and by the way, that club is one of those clubs where if you're mediocre funny, you're going to feel like you're the best comic ever because it's such an easy room.
Yeah.
And so I started there and I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. This is so great. And then one of my first gigs was this one-nighter at a pool hall. And me and the other comic walk in and we're like, yeah, we're here for the comedy night. And the guy running it is like, oh, shit, that's tonight. Right. So he forgot and was pissed. And we're like, well, we drove 2 hours. And he's like, all right, well, hang on here. Let me get the mic and I'll hook this up here. And he tells everybody, all right, turn the TVs off. And you heard everybody go, what?
Oh, no.
Like everyone's pissed. Here comes two strangers walking in saying, stop what you're doing. Look at us. And we weren't famous. And so people had to stop playing pool. I remember one guy like threatening to hit us with a pool cue. But I just did 15 minutes and we got the fuck out of there. But I've never actually had anyone rush the stage to come at me.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty lucky there.
Yeah. Did you find a point, and you've clearly fought through it at this point, but when, like after you said you did those very popular commercials and you've done some acting roles, when you go from that into comedy, now it's one thing for people to be able to recognize you and like, oh, that's the guy from whatever. But did you fight against like, oh, he's going to just do this because he's playing this character in the thing. So he's just going to tell jokes about, country shit and not any deeper than any of that.
Oh, yeah.
Casting, I guess.
Yeah. So the first big thing I kind of did was the Dodge commercials.
Right.
And if there's anybody watching this or listening to this that doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to reenact all 6 of them real fast. This is all 6 of them real fast, back to back. Here we go. Hey, that thing got a Hemi? You about to find out. Come on, man, floor it. Get me closer. I smell a Hemi. That can't be good. Sweet. That's all 6 of them. That's all 6 of them. That's about 4 years of my life right there. 4 or 5. And then, so they would, because I was a no name, just no one knew who Jon Reep was. The clubs would just put up there, Jon Reep, the Hemi guy. And then people would, like, off of curiosity, would be like, oh, yeah, oh, that's a kind of funny. Yeah, sure, I'll go in there and check this guy out. And I guess they thought I was going to talk about Hemis and I didn't know anything about him. I was an actor, I mean, someone told me what to say and I said it. It was real simple. That thing got a Hemi, 4 words. And it went on forever, but people would come in there like big guys, like who love cars, who love Mopars, love Dodge trucks. And they would have full on conversations and I would be like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. Did you hear what I had to say? I was talking about my dad in the swimming pool. What do you think of that? And they're like, oh, yeah. Did he have a truck? I'm like, yeah. So, but over time, I would win them over because I was kind of forced to talk about it.
Right.
Because that's why they were in there. And so I did talk about it. I give them like 5 minutes of it. And then it'd be like, and then I would let them know who I am. And slowly over time, I would build that audience and, I would bring them around. But yeah, people, they thought that's what it was. Like here's this Hemi guy is going to talk about trucks for an hour and a half. But yeah. Talk about Prince and how much I love Prince.
That's crazy. So you moved back to Hickory, right?
Yeah, I moved back to Hickory about 4 years ago. A combination of things happened. I was missing my family. I had been gone for 18 years. A lot was happening in my hometown that I was missing out on. Like I would come home and visit my friends, and my family, and they would start talking about something that happened last weekend, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was here for that. I miss that. So I was missing my family, and I was established enough that I could live anywhere. I've got agents, managers. I could live anywhere and do this gig. Technology, we could do this from anywhere. And so I thought, well, let me put my house on the market and see what happens. Fixed up my condo, and it sold real fast for above asking price. And I thought, well, that's a sign. And I moved back home. Dad has a stroke. So now he has a stroke on Thanksgiving Day, paralyzed on his left side, lives in a skilled nursing facility. Then COVID happens. And so I'm like, all right, it was meant to be. Like, I was meant to be here for these reasons, to look after not just my family, but myself in a weird way. They also helped me in a
During
weird way.
COVID and all that.
Yeah, and just the surroundings are completely different from Los Angeles. I'm familiar with Hickory. I have family in Clemens, North Carolina, up at Winston-Salem. So I
Yeah.
drove through there all through the 70s and 80s, back and forth through there. So it's a beautiful area down there.
Yeah, it's not bad. North Carolina is a great state. It really is. We've got the Appalachian Mountains on the left side. On the right side, we've got the Atlantic Ocean, beautiful beaches. You've got we've got Charlotte Hornets. We've got the Panthers. We've got a hockey team. We've got everything that any state would have. It's great. Tobacco Road. Sure, we have cancer, but it's whatever.
Asheville's fun too. I love Asheville.
Asheville is only an hour from here.
Yeah.
I go there quite a bit. Love Asheville. It's beautiful.
Okay, so before I let you go, I want to ask you about my grandpa, and if you had any, what's the first time you remember hearing about my grandpa, or any kind of story you have about him?
Well, I grew up like anyone else my age from the South, knowing who Willie Nelson is. I was very young, so I wasn't, in my teens when he was coming up from like the fresh-faced Willie Nelson to the hippie Willie Nelson. I just knew the hippie Willie Nelson, right? Yeah. So in college, when I went to NC State, there was a good year that I probably don't remember. It's when a buddy of mine was a horticulture major, and he grew pot plants, weed plants in his apartment. He knew how to do it perfect. He had like water systems and lighting things that would come on, timers, and so one summer he goes, I harvested your plant and this is your share. And he gave me 2 bags of marijuana. Wow. And that's when I really was getting into all kinds of different stuff. So my brain was like, oh, I'm missing out on this. And so Willie Nelson was a part of that, because I remember my roommate Joel got a CD of Willie Nelson songs that I'd never heard before, but they were old songs. Mm-hmm. And we just listened to this and was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So there's many different Willie Nelsons, right?
Sure.
So for me, the fact that he wrote Crazy, that Patsy Cline sang, mm-hmm. and not knowing that for most of my life. And then there was a version that he sang mm-hmm. that was a little different, and it's better.
That's the one I know.
Why is this not known? Why? I mean, I love Patsy Cline. She did a great job, but good Lord, this is better. Why do we have to go through her? So, there was a big discovery in college of those things when it came to, the writing side of Willie Nelson, and just some of the old hits that, I love him doing You Were Always on My Mind, To All the Girls I've Loved Before, when he did that. Who was the guy? The crooner. The Latino crooner guy, Iglesias.
Iglesias, yeah.
Yes. I love that. Just the fact that he's able to do as much as he's done with all these different types of artists and well-respected and loved. I mean, he's the best.
Can't leave Snoop Dogg out of that equation either.
That's what I'm saying.
Insane.
Yeah. He's done everything.
Fun fact, he wrote Crazy, Nightlife, and Gee, Ain't It Funny How Time Slips Away, all in the same week on his way from Texas to or like driving into Nashville. Like it's like on the road coming in, just all in the same.
Pretty good run. Not a bad week.
And Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain.
Oh yeah, I don't think he wrote that one, but he did. Make it huge. He made
But
it
I
big.
remember hearing it just like he can really get to your heart, to your
Yeah.
soul. So, yeah. I mean, now I'm gonna go back home and listen to just.
Yeah, that one.
I'm racking my brain for the name of that album that Joel got, because it wasn't the greatest hits. It was like old stuff.
He's done like 70 or 80 albums though.
I know.
Stardust is one of the good old ones. Stardust.
Redheaded Stranger.
Redheaded Stranger.
Yeah. Anyway.
But okay, before I let you go, the Tootsie story where Papa Willie ran into Patsy's husband, and her manager, I'm sorry, Patsy was with her husband. He was with her like recording somewhere, right? Papa Willie runs into her manager and he's like, "Hey, I got this song." And he's like, "Well, she's going to be, I can call her and have her here." She comes, they go upstairs in Tootsie's. He plays her the song and she went in and cut it that night. And
No shit.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, I mean, like her agent was like, "Hey, there's this guy here says he's got a song. It sounds good. Come over to Tootsie's, have a drink, and listen to it." She's like, "Okay." She does it, and then she's like, "Yeah, I love it. Let's go do it." Goes back to the studio and cuts it that night.
So did he perform it first? Like,
Yeah.
was there an album? I mean, did he write it and go, "You have it," or did he write it, perform it a little bit, sing it,
Yeah.
and then she took it?
Because I have old demos of that session where he was just putting it down, and there's some like just pieces of songs, kind of like when I first came over there. It's just like little pieces of ideas he had, not even a full thing. And Crazy was on that one.
Wow. So
They're
was it
called
her?
the Crazy demo sessions.
Okay.
It was just him, right? It was just him doing it. So, and he had been playing around Nashville or whatever, wherever he could. And he was playing the song, and he, ran into her agent manager at Tootsie's and said, "I have this song. Would Patsy be interested?" And he was like, "Maybe."
And then they sort of made it more her style, I guess. It's different,
Totally.
Yes.
But that's back when people, their style, his style couldn't be any more different than anybody else's, just phrasing and all that kind of stuff.
And just that's another thing. He's like a beat. It's going to sound funny. Beat off.
No, you're
like
right.
he's like a little bit before or behind a note or a beat or something. I'm sure I'm not saying that right.
No, you're right. It is. It's like a little behind the.
And then
the phrasing's all.
Then everybody forgets about his guitar playing too, where he's a genius guitar player. That's the stuff that gets kind of pushed aside. I'm like, Willie can shred on guitar.
Yeah. Well, so his song "Crazy," the one I heard, there's like does he have a hole in his guitar?
Yeah. From
It sounds different. Something sounds different about his guitar playing, and I think there's a little acoustic sort of solo in that song "Crazy." I think that's what I'm thinking of. That sounds like just awesome. I don't know how to describe it.
Well, he plays an acoustic guitar, but with these catgut strings, so it's really classical guitar. So if you hear, flamenco music, that's the tone coming out.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
thinking of.
Plugged into an amp, and he's got an extra hole from where his hand is just worn
mariachi
away the wood to make a second hole from all the years. But yeah, it definitely is a distinctive sound.
Django Reinhardt was his favorite guitar player, so he takes a lot after that jazzy thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what instruments do you play, Raelyn?
Guitar and ukulele in the band. I play ukulele because we kind of rock out, and it's easier to rock out with a ukulele than a guitar. And it's different. I just kind of wanted to be different.
Awesome. I love it. I tried. I took guitar lessons. I got a guitar for a minute, and I thought, let me actually just sit down and try this. And I took some lessons, and I got to where I could hit some chords and change my fingers with the chords. And then I worked up these calluses on my fingers.
Yeah.
And I thought I got this. And then I went on the road for 2 weeks and didn't take a guitar with me, and the calluses went away. And I picked up the guitar. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm done.
I make myself pick it up, if not every day, every other day, but I try to do every day, play 2 or 3 songs just for that reason, because I don't want my calluses to go away.
That's the key. You got to keep. Don't let the calluses go. That's a country song,
Yeah, don't let the calluses go away.
right?
How do we make
Some
that?
people.
I bet we could. We can make that into a
You're so callous.
message. Or
Oh yeah, keep
Um,
the callus. Yeah. Well, some people build a callus around their heart because they don't want to
See?
get their heart
That's
broken.
what I was thinking too. I was going
Oh
that.
my God, you guys.
In
John.
for a word, in for a third, baby.
Yeah,
There we go.
we're gonna write a song, okay? All right, John. Thanks for being on this.
Yeah,
thanks
man,
for
thanks.
having
This is
me on
great.
Countryish. Everybody, go check out Countryish and check out Jon Reep. What's your website? Does it go to a porn site?
Yes, it goes to it's Big Ginger Dick. It's not mine. I just found one online and it's beautiful. It's got Peyronie's disease. It curves a little. No, you go to jonreep.com, Jon, or countryish.com. One thing that I think your listeners will like, I give money away. So I do this game called How Much Is That Screen Actors Guild Residual Check? And I get these checks in the mail from like little small parts I've done here and there.
Yeah.
And I open it live on the show. We're a live show. So every Tuesday night, you can watch us live in the moment. I don't know how much is in this envelope. I open the check. I tell people what it's for. They call in with a guess, closest person. I mail them the check. I literally mail people my check.
And how much are these checks for usually?
I've given checks for $900, $1,000, but normally it's $2.87.
Yeah, I was gonna say I get like my dad. He died, I told you that, but he wrote a song, and I get like $2.47 from BMI like every six months or something. So stupid.
Oh, here, real quick. I'll show you. I got a stack of them right here. So look, I haven't even opened these yet. This is residual checks, okay? I'm going to pick one at random. Watch, right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one? Which one do you want?
That one.
That one. Nope. Back over. Yeah. Yeah. That.
This one?
Which one? You want? I'm scared. Do that,
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Nope. Back over. That one. You have your hand on there. Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Let's see. You guys are going to play. How much is that Screen Actors Guild residual check?
Big money, big money, big money, big money.
All right, this is for one episode of Eastbound and Down, chapter 22. It's for video and DVD and pay television. One check. How much?
$12.50.
Okay.
$12.50?
Yes.
I'm going to go with $37.37.
The actual amount of this check is $6.44. I will hold it up to you so you can see I'm not lying. I'll put my finger right next to it. $6.44.
Nice. Man.
I will mail this to you guys. That was close enough.
I got to get into acting, man. That's where it's at. Dude, thanks for doing this,
You're
man.
fun. You're so much fun. Let's do this again
Next time
sometime.
you're in Nashville, let us know.
Yeah, you can
I
come.
will. And you're fun too. And thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man.
Bye, man.
Bicycle.
Jon Reep is my favorite comedian.
Yeah, man. I like when we have the country guys on, Southern dudes. He's a solid guy. He's fun.
He was a lot of fun.
Yep. Anyway, enjoy your groceries.
Don't be an asshole.
I know your mama's name.
Enjoy your cigarette.